This video is all about Morizuya, the ryokan I stayed at in Kinosaki, a beautiful onsen town you can get to on a direct train from Osaka and Kyoto. My previous video is all about the town and what there is to do, and today we're focusing on the ryokan, what it's like staying there, the facilities, the amazing meal and the breakfast. And at the end, I'll tell you how I researched ryokan and how I booked it. If you're planning a trip to Japan, my guidebook has help with booking everything right from the start, along with lots of practical tips and ideas for things to do. You can get it from cakeswithfaces.co.uk with worldwide shipping. The link's in the description. So the ryokan I stayed at is called Morizuya. There are a couple of others with quite similar names, so make sure you get the right one. It's a very friendly, family-run, traditional Japanese hotel. It's in an excellent location on a road off the famous street with the canal, the one you see in all the pictures of Kinosaki. You can walk from Kinosaki Onsen station in only 8 minutes. It's only 600 meters away. If you have suitcases, there's a free shuttle bus. It picks you up directly outside the station to take you to whichever ryokan you're staying at. You don't have to book, they know when the trains arrive and they'll be waiting for you. It's an excellent service and it's free. This is the street that our ryokan's in. All the streets look pretty.
That's a ryokan just behind the car, isn't it?
Is it that building there? Morris. I can't read it from this distance.
No, me neither.
During the whole stay, I felt really well looked after. It felt like such a great example of omotenashi, Japanese hospitality. We got there before check-in time, which is 3 p.m, so we left our suitcases at the ryokan and went to explore the town and go on the ropeway before checking in. Welcome to our ryokan in Kinosaki. It's so nice. Let me show you around. If I look red, it's because we've just been in the onsen and it was extremely hot. Yes, I do look very red. Looking good. Now there's a lot to show you because there's a lot going on with this. It's a lot more than a normal hotel. When we arrived just now, they were so friendly. This is a family-run ryokan and they were so nice. The owner, I assume he was the owner, immediately took us outside and took some photos of us with a parasol outside on the street in a couple of locations. And then the woman brought us in, checked us in, and she took me upstairs to choose a yukata to wear later on. And there was such a big choice, all the different colours. It was so hard to choose which one to pick. Now, I'll show you around. When you first go in, there's this little hallway that has a door to the toilet. There's also storage for the futon, although the staff put them out for you, so you don't need to worry about them. And then there's a door into the main room. It's best to leave your luggage out here in this hallway area because if you take it onto the tatami mats, it can damage them. So best to keep them out here. So in this room, because you're supposed to use the showers at the bathhouses, you get a toilet and a sink, but you don't get a shower or a bath in your room. This seems to be the case with most ryokan. They often say they have a shared bathroom with no shower or bath in your rooms. You've got slippers to use in the toilet. Oh, hello. It's got all the buttons you'd expect from a Japanese toilet. And even in the entranceway, there's some nice details and decorations.
The ceiling's nice.
Oh yeah, it's not just a plain ceiling. These decorations were all around the ryokan in the hallways, which gave it a personal touch. It's so big. And doesn't it look cozy with just the lights on over that side? Or you can have just the bird lights on the ceiling. Let's put them all on so you can see everything clearly. You have your dinner at this low table, traditional Japanese style, sitting on the floor with these chair backs and cushions on a very plush, fluffy rug. And the whole floor is tatami mats, traditional Japanese style. These are our yukata. There's the plain set of just the normal ones. And then here's my fancy colour yukata, which I picked out. These are all the ones I chose. I wanted it to be really colourful, so I'll be changing into that later. And they said they'd come and help me put it on because it's quite tricky. They also gave us some towels to use in the onsen. And these are our socks to go with the wooden sandals. We've got a TV and a phone.
Have you seen what's under the TV?
Oh, it's a little rabbit. Cute. The traditional Japanese artwork. It looks really nice in here. On the table we've got a green tea set. These are our passes for the bathhouses. If you stay in any of the ryokan in Kinosaki, they give you a pass to go to all 7 public baths in the town. This is my hair accessory I picked to go with my yukata. Some sweets or crackers. They're to go with our green tea. Well, I expected them to be crispy. They feel a bit soft. Some little cakes. And I was so excited to see we've got a kotatsu. Now this is a table you can sit around with a heater underneath for the winter to keep you nice and cozy. And I'd heard about them and always thought they sounded so nice and cozy. So I'm so glad we get to try one. Although I am extremely hot now after the onsen. So you sit at the table and put your legs under there. It's got this tablecloth and that feels like a duvet. Very cozy. I loved the kotatsu. I wasn't expecting there to be one. Unlike the table, this one has a hole in the floor underneath so you can put your legs down and sit more like on a normal chair. If I had one of these at home in the winter, I would never leave it. Here's the controller for the kotatsu. I'm guessing it's just heat up and down. There's a fridge. It's got a few drinks in it. I think it's a mini bar sort of deal with that. And a safe to keep your valuables in. There's a menu with a bell and you can order drinks to your room. Yuzu. Massages. And there's some room service dishes, although we've got dinner included, so I don't think we'll be needing any of these. What's in this? Oh, it's another tea set. Lots of tea. There's a kettle and this keeps the water warm, so you've got hot water on tap continuously. You can drink loads and loads of green tea. We've got another sink over here and there's a little sink in the bathroom as well. They give you toothbrushes. We've got some cups for water and some amenities. Kire. Hand soap. What's this? Lotion? Makeup remover maybe? I'm not very good at reading Japanese. And out here we've got a little garden we can look out on. This is so nice. And you can hear the water from the onsen. This is so nice. Some of the other rooms at Morizuya look out onto the street so you can see the old buildings and watch everyone going by. Instead of curtains, there's this panel that slides across. Traditional Japanese paper panels. Better be careful with that. And this, we're just drying our towels on at the moment. So I think that's everything. Oh, there's a room divider. So if we have an argument and want separate halves of the room, goodbye. Right, so I think that's everything. So much going on with this ryokan. There's a lot more to it than a hotel. So it's only 45 minutes till dinner time now, so it's time to get dressed in our yukata. Here's my yukata that I borrowed from during my stay here. I've got this jacket. I thought I'd pick everything the most colourful possible. You can choose whatever yukata, belt and jacket you want, so you can mix and match for your own style. I thought this yellow one would be really colourful and it would go nicely with the purple obi. I like how it's got the orange on it as well. I was trying to think of colours that would go well with my hair. Probably some people would say this would clash, but I like colourful style. I looked up how to put a yukata on and it sounded quite simple from the instructions, but then when I tried to do it, it was quite difficult. But the staff here say they'll help you put it on, so if you just phone them, they come up and help you tie everything up, and they did it a lot better than I would. They also tied it up very tight around the waist, but it was fine when I was eating dinner. They did the beautiful bow at the back, which I could probably never have managed. Downstairs in the lobby, they also have baskets that you can borrow to take your stuff, or if you're going out to one of the bathhouses, and they had parasols as well for if it's sunny. You also get a pair of these toe socks so you can wear the sandals. And all the sandals are just out in the lobby, so you take them when you go out and then put them back when you come back in. The colourful yukata is recommended for walking around, shopping and photos, and the standard yukata is better when you're visiting bathhouses because it's easier to put on. Here's the men's yukata. This is the one that everyone gets as standard. Unfortunately, they don't offer fancy designs for men. This was at the start of March, so this is the winter version. It's made up of 2 main layers plus a jacket, which is called a haori. It wraps around just like the women's yukata. The belt is tied around the outside of both layers with a bow at the side. Here's the thinner layer underneath. In warmer weather, you might not need the darker outer layer. I noticed the design actually has rabbits on it. Maybe that's for Year of the Rabbits, although that would mean they have to change them every year, so it could just be a coincidence. Neither of us are very tall, but when they helped us get dressed, they went to get a longer yukata for Phil. You can see it comes right down to the ankles. This was enough to keep us warm outside for a short walk around after dinner, although it was warmer than I expected in March. So, some tips for the ryokan. Make sure you check in as early as you can because there's a lot to get done once you check in. You've got to change into your yukata. They give you a set with some green tea and some snacks, and then dinner tends to be quite early, so it's best to check in early so you've got time to do all that and to enjoy the experience. Check-in time is 3 p.m. and you have to check in before 6 p.m. because dinner's quite early. You'll also want some time to take photos in your yukata, and if you want to go to the bath before dinner, and there's all that green tea to drink. This is really different from staying in a hotel. There's people coming into your room all the time, bringing you things and showing you around. It's not just you get your room and they leave you to it. There's a lot going on. It's quite intense. It really is a full service experience with staff coming in to change your room around for dinner, putting out your futon, helping you get dressed and bringing your food, which is a bit strange when you're used to being left to your own devices in your hotel room. It feels less private in a way, but they do always knock on the door. When you're staying in a ryokan, all this hospitality is part of the experience. It's a lot more than just a room to stay in. Next, it's time for dinner, which is served in your room. We moved over to the kotatsu while they prepared the table and set everything out. I've got the vegetarian option, no meat or fish, and Phil has the regular meal. You don't choose what you get, it's a standard set meal, but as you'll see, there are so many small dishes that if you don't like any of them, there are lots of other things too. When you're booking, you can choose either kaiseki ryori, a traditional Japanese meal with lots of dishes, or kani ryori, which is crab, a local speciality. This is the kaiseki ryori option, which includes Tajima beef, which is also a local speciality. So here's our dinner at the ryokan. This is amazing. In here I've got some tofu and vegetables which are going to cook when we light this up. Freshly cooked. This, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm supposed to use this spoon.
Ooh, maybe potato based?
That's warm. There were lots of dishes that we weren't quite sure what they were. It's a chance to give lots of things a try that you might not find elsewhere. This is some tofu and vegetables. They said there's no fish or meat in this, and that's the sauce for it. This is some konjac. Konjac is jelly-like and a bit chewy. It's more about the texture than the flavour. It's originally made from a kind of potato. I've got some maki rolls, some sushi rolls, which look very fancy. Look at that one, the pattern.
That's a lot as well.
It is actually. That's definitely going to fill me up. This looks amazing.
So I have some sashimi here. I'm not sure what's in that. I think it's sort of pickles, radish, bit of vegetable.
Might have some crab in it.
Maybe, yeah. I have some beef here, which I think is probably the, what's the local beef?
Oh, local Tajima beef.
Probably Tajima beef, because it's quite marbled, which I believe it is here. I've got some more vegetables. I'm not quite sure. I'm looking forward to this though. I bet that one. It's quite nice. I've got some soy sauce. I've got some sauce there, which I think is supposed to go with the beef and the vegetables. And over here I have some crab, some kani.
That's also a local speciality.
Yes. I was just saying I'd like to try some, because I had it in a sandwich earlier, but I'd like to try some on its own. And here we are, job done. And then there is this, which I believe is supposed to go with the crab.
And the beef and vegetables you cook on this, which we'll light up in a minute. Excellent.
Excellent.
Itadakimasu. This is egg-based. It's a type of omelette, I think, with vegetables inside. And the sauce is it's a bit like a thick soup. Maybe it's a potage or something. It tastes really savoury and tasty. Look how fancy this piece of cucumber is. It's all frilly. How on earth did they do that? While the staff at reception spoke excellent English, the staff serving the meal spoke mainly only in Japanese, but it wasn't a problem. They showed us which cutlery and sauces went with what, and it was easy to understand what we were supposed to do. For example, how to light the candle to cook the hot pot. Yep, that's on fire.
Oh, that goes quick. I thought it was like a little tea light.
You can feel the heat coming off that.
Wow, maybe I'll leave mine a minute then.
Mine's already sizzling. Oh, I can see some steam coming out.
So she recommended an order for me, so it was the sashimi, and then the meat and vegetables, and then the crab. So I'm going to go and put these on the grill now. So put the vegetables on. There we go. This has only just got on, so it's not very hot yet.
I think it'll be sizzling in a bit. You can feel the heat coming off
Ooh,
that.
Look at this onion, it's going to smell good.
We might need to open the window.
Ah, it's good.
My beef's going on. Wow, sizzle.
I had Kobe beef last night, or what was advertised as Kobe beef at least, and it was very, very nice, but it just tasted like a high quality steak. This, however, has a different taste to it. It's really nice. I think this is closer to what I was expecting Kobe beef to taste like. It tastes a bit like steak, but it's got a different flavour. It's a different experience, I think. Really delicious. I imagine if Kobe beef is, proper Kobe beef is like this, and even better, it'll be incredible.
Yeah, open up the leaf. There's the tofu all cooked. It's been steamed, and I think it's got some sauce in with it there. I was actually quite full up after this, but little did we know, this was just the start.
And what's just arrived?
Some pumpkin pie. There's no way I'll be able to eat all of this.
All is delicious.
I've still got all the sushi to eat.
Very good meal.
Do you think that's our pudding?
I imagine so. If not, we're in trouble.
So I was just getting through my sushi and feeling quite full up. She came in and said we should start our pumpkin pies now while they're hot. And then she brought in this as well. Some nabe. I've got vegetables, tofu and some noodles. And now this is renewed with a new flame and some stock to cook it in. And Phil's got some pork nabe as well. I don't know how we're going to eat all this. And the carrot is shaped like a crab. This is a lot of food. I'm going to put my crab carrot in. They have done a good job with the veggie options.
They've done an astonishingly good job.
Oh, some leek.
Shaping up to be one of the best meals I've ever had.
This is like a whole meal in itself. As they served this course, they said something in Japanese, and then we both looked at each other and said, did she just say tempura? And yes, there were more courses to come. Wow, some tempura has arrived as well. I've got aubergine and Phil's got shrimp.
I think shrimp and aubergine. Yep.
This is a lot of food. It looked like aubergine, but it was actually tamago-style egg wrapped in nori as tempura. As if we weren't full up already, she brought in some rice for us. I am way too full up to have any rice. And some miso soup. Well, that was an amazing meal. Everything was delicious, and she kept knocking on the door and bringing in more food and more food. I've sort of eaten half of everything. I'm so full up now.
You did get a lot of food. I had a lot, and it was really delicious. But I think when they substituted a bit of meat, they gave you like 2 or 3 times as many vegetables.
Like in the nabe, Phil got pork and vegetables, and I got vegetables and some noodles, which is more filling. And the sushi's really filling as well. I'd probably eat just that sushi in a meal.
Yeah, you had a lot of sushi. Compared to my couple of chunks of beef.
But they did a great job with the vegetarian options.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely stunning. It looked like they did a brilliant job. The food, for me, was really, really good. One of the best meals I've had. Absolutely brilliant.
One of the reasons I picked this ryokan in particular is because they do offer vegetarian meals when a lot of them don't. Although there were quite a few around Kinosaki that have vegetarian meals. On the Visit Kinosaki tourism website, there's a list of all the ones that do. So it was like a Venn diagram. I had the ones that have vegetarian meals and then the ones that have a private bath. And then I looked through them all and decided to pick this one. Also, Kinosaki is one of the few onsen towns that allows people with tattoos in all of the onsen, both the public ones and the private ones, which is quite rare. So they seem to be quite a forward-thinking, liberal onsen town.
And what about the tourism people you spoke to?
Oh yeah, when I decided I wanted to book this ryokan, I had the choice of booking it either directly on their website or on booking.com. And at the time I was thinking if I booked through booking.com, they would probably take loads of fees and things. So I decided to book directly on the ryokan's website. So I filled in the form, but I didn't really get much of a reply, so I wasn't sure if the booking was confirmed or not. So I emailed the tourism website and said, can you just check with them, please? It's difficult with the language barrier. I'm not sure if they got my booking. And they were really good. They were really helpful. I think there was someone who spoke really good English there, and they checked and said, yes, your booking is confirmed.
That's the Kinosaki tourism office.
Yeah, I'll put the link up here. And then again, I contacted them last week just to make sure they had the details about we wanted one vegetarian meal and one not vegetarian. And they helped out with that as well. They were really good. And you can book directly through their website, so that would probably be a good idea. We thought we were done, and dessert has arrived. It's quite small though, so I think I'll be able to manage it. It's got some orange, I'm not sure what that is. It's some sauce, possibly red bean paste, not sure. Dessert update. This is like pudding, like the pudding on cream caramel. So kind of like a jelly in a way, but creamy. The other thing on top was, I think it was a chestnut. It had the same texture as a chestnut, and that is sweet red bean paste. After dinner, we went for a walk around Kinosaki, which was beautiful at night time. You can see that in my previous video, which is all about the town and what there is to do there. Morizuya is on a lovely street. There's lots of shops, bars and restaurants nearby. Everything in Kinosaki is within walking distance. It's very convenient. After the walk, we went to the baths again. Here's what there is in the private onsen. So there's baskets for your stuff. There's a sink here, and you get quite a lot of different shampoos, lotions, makeup remover, a hairbrush, and a hairdryer. So this is a little area to get ready. And when you come in, you just lock the door if you want to use it privately. And then through here is the onsen bath. It's super steamy. It's going to steam up the camera. That's the area where you wash yourself before going in. There's the indoor bath, very steamy. And here's the outdoor bath. My camera keeps steaming up. There's so much steam coming off the water. Here's the other private bath at the Ryokan. It's an indoor cave bath. In the evenings, whenever the baths are free, you can use them privately. And then in the mornings, it's an open shared bath for everyone to go in together. On the website, it says it's before 6 p.m. that you can use them privately. So I guess that changes depending on how busy they are. In the mornings, one of the baths is for men and the other for women. The onsen water in Kinosaki is 40 degrees. It feels quite hot when you first get in, but you get used to it quickly. It's lovely and warm. The baths in the Ryokan are quite small. The ones in the public bathhouses around Kinosaki have a similar feel, but they're larger. Somehow I forgot to film the futon, but they were pretty much exactly as you'd expect. I find them really comfy. They laid them out in the area where the dinner table was, and then they packed them away for us in the morning before breakfast. You choose what time you want to have breakfast in the morning. All the options are quite early. I was conscious of getting up and being ready on time. I didn't want to still be asleep when they knocked on the door. Good morning, ohayo gozaimasu. Here's our breakfast at the Ryokan. We've got a lot of little dishes. Here's my vegetarian version. And there's Phil's, which is actually pretty similar. I've just got a few of the fish dishes substituted for something else. And we've also got this pot of rice if we need a refill. This is quite a lot to eat in the morning. Considering I usually just have toast for breakfast, this was a feast. We've got tofu with tofu skin, that's yuba, perfectly cooked rice, dipping sauce. This is a savoury rice porridge, pickles and tamago, that's rolled egg omelette with sesame sauce, green tea, some more sauces, salad with potato salad, a big miso soup, and a sheet of nori to go with the rice. This is chawan mushi, a savoury egg custard. I'd not had this before, so to me it seems strange that it was savoury. Usually this sort of thing is sweet, but that's how it's supposed to be. We've got dessert for breakfast as well. This is texture of purin, like pom-pom purin, and it's got kiniko powder on the top and brown sugar syrup. Kinako is roasted soybean flour. This was actually delicious. I'd love to have it again. I've got to add more Kinako things to my to-eat list. We just checked out of the Ryokan. I was hoping they'd be able to hold our luggage until our train this afternoon, but it turns out they can take it to the Tourist Information Centre opposite the station for us, so we can just pick it up from there, which is right opposite the station when we leave, which will be really easy. It's such a good service. They take care of everything for you. And then just as we were leaving, the staff at the Ryokan came out and took lots of pictures of us by these lovely spots. They know all the best photo spots. I think the Ryokan owner really likes photography. He said it's been their family business for 8 generations. I really enjoyed staying at Morizuya. It's the full traditional Ryokan experience. The staff are so friendly, the meal was amazing, and I love that they have the choice of colourful yukata to wear. Not all Ryokan have that. So here's how I research Ryokan. First, you need to decide which onsen town you want to go to. They tend to be outside cities, in places where there are natural hot springs. There's loads of them all around Japan. I'd highly recommend Kinosaki. But even just in this town, there are so many Ryokan to choose from. I looked at blog posts, trip reports, and roundups of Ryokan in Kinosaki. Next, you need to decide what you want from a Ryokan. I was limited to those that offer vegetarian meals because most of them don't. But in Kinosaki, there are quite a few of them that do. There's a list on visitkinosaki.com, the local tourist board website, which I found so useful for so many things. I also wanted a Ryokan with a bath you can use privately. I wasn't sure I wanted to go to a public bath, although in the end I'm glad I did. Morizuya only has 12 rooms, so I figured their baths wouldn't be too busy. Some have baths you can book, a few you have to pay to use privately, and some have rooms with private baths in your room, but that is usually more expensive. Visitkinosaki.com has lots of information about all these things, how many baths each one has and what they're like. The other thing on my Ryokan shopping list was a futon, so I cut out any with Western style beds. I made myself a doc to compare them all and decided I like the look of Morizuya. As I mentioned, you can book it on booking.com or on their own website or through visitkinosaki.com. I booked on Morizuya's own website to make sure the Ryokan gets all the money. They also didn't have options for what meal you want on booking.com. You can book all the Ryokan in Kinosaki through visitkinosaki.com, which I think would be a good option because they were so helpful. Some Ryokan are on hotel sites like Expedia and booking.com. Once you've identified which one you want to stay at, do a Google search to find out where to book it. Another really useful website is JapaneseGuesthouses.com. It lists Ryokan in hot spring towns all around Japan. It tells you what baths they have, the price range, and the style, whether they're more modern or more traditional. It looks like you can book through them too, although that's not available at the moment. The total price for 2 people, with dinner and breakfast included, we also had a couple of drinks, beer and sake, so everything with taxes included was 46,370 yen. The price on Morizuya's website is per person. That can often be the case, so watch out for that. Ryokan are more expensive than regular hotels, but you get large rooms, all those extra facilities, and all that service from staff doing everything for you, and a gourmet multi-course dinner included. So I think the price is actually pretty reasonable. There are Ryokan that are much more expensive too. It's more a place to stay for 1 or 2 nights for the experience than for your whole trip. You can book just the room or just with breakfast and or dinner. I definitely recommend getting the meal. It's part of the experience and it really is a dinner to remember. It had lots of foods I haven't really had elsewhere at regular restaurants, and certainly not outside Japan. It's worth noting that Morizuya doesn't take cards, so you need to take a stack of cash with you. I kept it in an envelope away from my usual spending money. This may be the case at other Ryokan too. They tend to be quite traditional, so they might not take cards, so that's something to check. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And if you want to see more of Kinosaki, have a look at my previous video. Next time, I'll show you what we did after checking out at the beach, which is only 9 minutes away on the train. I'll see you next time.